My summer 2016 convention adventures took me to the farthest con I have traveled to this year, Matsuricon 2016. This was my very first year ever attending Matsuricon. With all the hype surrounding it, Matsuricon has been my most anticipated convention this year. Was Matsuricon worth the 5.5 hour drive from Chicago? Let's find out. Matsuricon 2016 is a mid-sized con held in Columbus, Ohio at the Hyatt Regency Columbus and the Greater Columbus Convention Center. My first impressions of this location is that this venue brought an amazing atmosphere for this convention. The moment I stepped into this venue, I felt like I was in a completely different world. The hallways and the panel rooms looked very nice, and I loved the large stairway that connects all 3 of the main floors together. It did take a while for me to learn how to navigate around this area, but once I figured it out, it was never a problem later on. The parking rates will vary depending on where you park in the area. For those staying at the Hyatt Regency, do note that if you park in the Chestnut Street garage, you get a discounted rate of $12 a night. All you have to do is get your ticket validated at the front desk. One great thing about this location is that there is a food court built into the hotel with very affordable food as opposed to those overpriced concession stands at other cons. As you can probably tell from the footage, parts of the venue were under construction at the time of this recording. I didn't find that to be a deal breaker at all. That only means that the venue is going to get even better for next year. Another thing I liked about the venue was that it was a great venue for photography and videos. The lighting was on point and I was able to get some really great cosplay photos. Whether day or night or rain or shine, you shouldn't have any problems with the lighting at Matsuricon. The Hyatt Regency and Convention Center held this convention beautifully and was one of the best venues I've been to this year. Registration at Matsuricon was quick and efficient. Registration this year had several computers up and running, which made registration go by very fast for those who pre-registered or registered at the door. Now, people did tell me that they have mistaken the autograph room for registration, as registration used to be where autographs are this year. I recommend better signage directing to registration, as it could definitely be confusing for some people. I hardly used the physical guidebook at this con, but instead primarily used the Matsuricon 2016 map for iOS and Android. Throughout my entire experience, I never ran into any issues with the app. The app was very useful and was extremely easy to use. The best part is that it doesn't require an internet connection for it to work. For those worried about the mobile app sucking up data and battery, you don't have to worry about that here. The theme for this year's Matsuricon was pirates, and it reflected on the guest lineup for this convention. As other reviewers have said before me, Matsuricon is known for their huge lineup of guests. This year, they brought several voice actors from the English dub of One Piece, as well as musical guest Professor Shyguy and Kieran Strange, and everybody's favorite samurai, Samurai Dan and his wife Jillian. There were so many amazing panels and events going on at Matsuricon, including all the guest panels, all the One Piece events, as well as all the main events. I also wanted to mention the rave. I don't normally go to raves at cons, but everyone has been telling me how awesome Matsuricon's raves are that I couldn't pass it up. The rave at Matsuricon was awesome. The DJ was incredible and brought so much adrenaline to the entire crowd. And that's really saying a lot because I don't normally dance, but this rave got me off the seat and got into the beat of the music. This rave truly made me want to go to other con raves in the future. Matsuricon had a very nice dealer's room. It's what you would expect at a con this size. It's not the best dealer's room I've seen in a mid-sized con, but it's still a great dealer's room. Bringing in more dealers and industry booths can open up a whole new world for this dealer's room. This is something I believe the con should work on spicing up for next year. But if there was one thing that Matsuricon hit a home run this year, it was their Artist Alley. The Artist Alley at Matsuricon was huge. It took up the majority of the second floor of the Hyatt. In addition, the artists in this Artist Alley were among the best I have seen so far this year. You wouldn't believe how much money I spent in the Artist Alley alone. Matsuricon had a very nice game room. It brought a great amount of console gaming, but my favorite part was the arcade gaming hosted by Tokyo Attack. As a fan of Tokyo Attack, I know they've always delivered incredible arcade gaming rooms, and it's no different here at Matsuricon. If you haven't checked out Tokyo Attack, then I recommend you do. I promise that they won't disappoint. If there was one big issue that I had at Matsuricon, it was the autograph handling. The autograph handling this year was absolutely terrible. But first, let me talk about the things that they did right. They did away with the ticketing system that several people I talked to were complaining about from last year, and I liked how they enforced the rule that the line doesn't start until an hour before the session. But this is where it all starts falling apart. Firstly, the autograph rooms were way too small, filling up very quickly, and it also got very hot. Also, I didn't like how autograph sessions overlap with one another. They enforced a rule where sessions get capped at 100 people. If you wanted to see a guest whose session was happening at the same time as another guest you wanted to see, chances are that the other guest session would be capped. For VIP badge holders, one major thing I would like to mention is that the VIP badge offered no autograph benefits except for the Saturday night VIP meet and greet, which not all guests showed up. I also had people tell me that some autograph sessions started very late and how there was some confusion with forming the lines. But it gets worse from here. The crowding from Saturday's autograph session was absolutely atrocious. The crowd controlling was some of the worst I have ever seen at cons. I've been to larger conventions and they were able to handle the crowd much better than this con. And that is not a good thing when Matsuricon is a much smaller convention. Before I get to my verdict, I would like to give a big shout out to Cody from Convention Reviews. For all things anime conventions, including reviews, vlogs, and cosplay music videos, please check out his channel with a link in the description. Autograph issues aside, Matsuricon is still a spectacular mid-sized convention. Being the farthest con I traveled to this year, I can proudly say that it was worth the long drive from Chicago. The hype was real. It lived up to the hype that several people have told me that I would recommend this con to everyone, even to those who live very far away from Columbus. There were so many things I liked about this convention. The first was the venue itself, which was one of the best venues I've been to at a mid-sized con. Matsuricon will be around for a long time at this location. Next are the amount of voice actors this con pulled. If you're a big fan of voice actors, then Matsuricon is the con for you. They pull tons of them. You can go to Matsuricon just for the guests alone. I also wanted to mention how fast the registration was at this convention. Myself and my group had no problems getting our badges. This con has one of the fastest registration lines I've been to this year. I also want to give a big shout out to the person who wrote the Matsuricon 2016 app. It was a very useful app that I used for the entire con that I didn't even bother looking at the physical guidebook. The next thing I liked was the spectacular artist alley. I was blown away with what Matsuricon's artist alley offered that I spent a ton of money on prints. Matsuricon has one of the best artist alleys I've seen at mid-sized cons, and it won't disappoint. The next thing I liked about Matsuricon were all of the awesome panels. Matsuricon was loaded with plenty of great quality panels. Concerts, industry panels, guest panels, main events, as well as all of the one-piece events. Matsuricon's panels will keep you nice and busy all weekend long. I also really liked the Saturday night rave. From someone like me who does not dance, this rave got people like me get into the beat. I also want to thank those who volunteered as staff for being very helpful to me and my group at this convention. And the last thing I liked about Matsuricon was their game room. It was a very solid game room and was a great place to sit down and relax. Keep inviting Tokyo Attack as they really brought the house down with their arcade gaming. The one and only thing I disliked about Matsuricon was the autograph handling. I strongly feel that Matsuricon really needs to step their game up with autographs. When you invite so many voice actors, without a doubt, attendees will most likely want to get an autograph from them. This needs to be taken more seriously for next year, as this issue can get even worse as this con grows. But other than that, Matsuricon is a convention that all anime and gaming fans should head out to. It's by far one of the best overall cons of 2016. If you live on an island and looking for the ultimate treasure, then get on a ship and set sail for Matsuricon, full speed ahead. On a scale of 1 to 10, Matsuricon 2016 without a doubt shines bright, and I am proud to give this convention a 9 out of 10. You just heard the story of my first year experience at Matsuricon, but I do want to hear from you guys. What were your thoughts on Matsuricon 2016? Please let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more convention videos. Also check out my brand new Facebook photography page for all the cosplay photos I took at Matsuricon. So until then, this is Justin, thank you for watching, and remember to always shine bright.
If I had known then what I know